Welcome to Chasing Excellence, the informative, educational, and entertaining podcast series featuring positive and inspiring stories of entrepreneurs. Now, here's your host, Cathy Hogan.
Welcome, friends. I am so excited. Today is a great day, and I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend and talented person, Miss Jayne Olderman. Jayne is a self-taught pianist, guitarist, producer, engineer, videographer, and excellent songwriter. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Miss Jayne Olderman. Jayne.
Yay! Oh, thank you. Oh, you're good. Oh, thank you. I love being here with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
And this is the maiden voyage, the first podcast. So you're throwing me into the sharks.
Yeah. Hey, I thought you'd be a fun one. So.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, we're just going to have fun and cut up like we always do. And you're going to tell people what you do, your background, how you got in the business, your inspiration, all of that kind of stuff. And then we're going to talk about some light things like,
yes.
Jayne, what is the meaning of life? Did you forget?
I know the meaning of life.
Okay.
Chocolate raspberry truffle ice cream.
At Brewster's.
At Brewster's. We hurt ourselves years ago. It took me a long time to get over it. Yeah, we survived it.
We definitely have some adventures. So, Jayne, jump on in here and tell us about yourself. Like I said, how long you been in the business? Where did you start out? Some fun, cool things about you because you're such a cool chickie. I want everybody to know.
Okay, where do I begin? I hate talking about myself, and here I am on a podcast. All right. Well, I started performing at the University of Connecticut and needed a little money, played the ballroom, coffee house, and next time I played there, more people came, and then more people came, and next thing I know, its capacity of the room was 200, and 600 people showed up.
Wow.
Got 3 standing ovation encores, and a guy from Columbia Records saw me, and I was signed for his management, went on tour, and I'm doing a real quick, touring, opened up for Harry Chapin, Muddy Waters, The Outlaws, Aztec Two-Step, and but long story short, after performing, I went behind the scenes and started writing, engineering, producing, making the videos, and here I am.
That's awesome.
That's a real short, uninteristing, terribly uninteresting version.
No, everybody wants to know how you got started. But
if I can think of some amusing stories that pop in my head, I'll.
What was the one you told me last week about the guy that you were at some kind of house with some people and you ended up being with a recording artist?
Bob Dylan.
Oh, Bob Dylan.
Yes, okay. I was at Bob Dylan's house. Yeah, see, that first thing was the uninteresting version, the overview, which is a yawner. But, there's a few little sparkling stories that pop up there. So I will get rid of the long story, but I wound up at Bob Dylan's house because the business manager had me stay there. Bob Dylan was gone. Sarah was gone. The toys were there from Jacob, the kids. And I wasn't sure what I was doing there. But one night, really, they said,
wait a minute.
You're going to be somebody.
I just ended up in...
well, that's where I'm cutting out a lot of the fat out of the story.
I just happened to be at Bob Dylan's house one night, and this thing happened.
I can do the long version, how it happened. But at any rate. But I was discovered. It was a professor at the University of Connecticut, knew somebody. I wound up at Lime Rock in Connecticut, race cars. And one of the race cars was Todd Rundgren in his Mustang.
Todd.
And this is way, way back in the early 70s. And I was supposed to follow the caravan back up to Woodstock, New York. And the business manager discovered, I got air quotes going here, discovered me. And nobody talked to me. I'm in the house and nobody's talking to me. There's like 20 bedrooms. I picked one. And one night, Walter, the business manager, says, it's midnight. Wake up, get dressed, you got to come downstairs, we have a visitor. So I meet the visitor, he goes, Jayne, this is Richie, Jayne. So I said, hey, you in the music business? He goes, yeah. And I said, well, what's the band? He goes, the band. I go, yeah, what band? The band. And it was like Abbott and Costello, who's on first.
Yeah.
So he realized I didn't know who the band was. And we jammed all night till 4 a.m. I was on the grand piano. He and I are sitting together eating those little Snyder pretzels.
Yeah.
Those little shaped like little pillows. And he played the drums. I was playing piano. And we just jammed all night till 4 a.m. He left. And Walter looked at me, I hope you're proud of yourself. I go, why? He goes, that was Richie Manuel from the band. I'm like, who's the band?
Who's on first, like you said, right?
But I figured it out eventually. And, I love the band. I'm obsessed with them. And Robbie Robertson. And
Have you kept in touch with him through the years?
he's passed away a long, long, long time ago.
Well, I'm sure.
It was a sad story. But
Okay, we won't go there
yeah.
then.
But he's a beautiful, beautiful spirit. Oh, my gosh. Everything you've heard about him, that they say about him, he's such a lovely person.
That's good. It's nice to know that there are some nice people in the music business, because I've met several who weren't. And yes, and they left a lasting impression on me.
Yeah,
So much so that I quit
interesting.
listening to them.
Interesting.
But
That
anyway,
will influence you,
Yeah.
your personality.
Well, Jayne, tell us about some of your highlights, some of the songs you've done, some of the awards you've won.
Ooh, now
Because she's a multi-talented, and she just can do anything.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, I do make a great chocolate chip banana bread, as you know.
Yeah,
and I write, I produce, I engineer, make the videos.
No
So I
kidding.
taught myself. And as the internet came into being, I've gone to the University of Google. I recommend it highly for any of you parents out there that your kids say, I need all this money to go to this university to be in the music business. Just say no. Say University of Google, YouTube. Yeah. So I'm self-taught on everything from Final Cut Pro to Pro Tools to you name it, website design, all scouring the internet.
Okay.
So,
And
the question was about. Well, I have to say I was listening to my songs before coming here, and I'm really good.
I didn't think about that. I should have
I'm
done
sorry.
that.
Sorry about that. Really enjoying it because I don't write just to write. It comes from my heart, and I ain't in it for the money. I want you all out there to visit my website and listen to the music. It's free. It's streaming. Nothing to buy. Just let it permeate your soul and your heart, and I hope you find lots of fun things or things that move you. It's very positive. Wow.
And where do they find that, Jayne?
That's on my website, which is perfect.
That would help.
It's perfect. Jayne, spelled Jayne, Olderman.com. Like younger woman, older man. Tarzan
Only
and
you.
Hey, Tarzan and
Jayne.
and younger woman.
I don't remember. Cheetah?
It's older man.
Okay.
Younger woman, Jayne.
All right. Back on track.
JayneOlderman.com. Listen, enjoy.
How about some of your awards throughout the years?
Well,
Let's talk about that because I know you have many.
I placed a song on Patti LaBelle's Grammy-nominated gold album, Flame, and got a couple of Billboard singles that made the top 20 for 6 weeks each. There is no city as pretty as Savannah, sung by Tiffany Milagro.
There is no city as pretty as Savannah.
And Why Can't It Just Be Christmas, sung by Tiffany Milagro.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we got a Telly Award for Love Big commercial for Red Warrior Records, my little record company. But hey, wait, segue here, because you and I go way back.
Yes.
As fellow realtors, we were partners.
Tag team.
We were the tag
30
team.
years ago. I was thinking about that this morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's more, God, we're getting old.
I know.
Older
Well,
man.
you are. I'm young. No.
Younger woman.
You're talking about the Patti LaBelle.
Patti
and-
LaBelle. Yes.
You got to
this
tell
is
the
important.
Patti LaBelle
This is
story.
important because the theme of the show, entrepreneurial and
Excellent.
business. Here we go. Here's the important, very relevant part of my story. I was in the music business. I was touring. It was looking good. I had 2 major deal offers, and I remember the Just Say No campaign. I said no, and publishing offers. And then because of that, I wound up playing clubs again instead of the big tours, opening up for major acts. So I got my real estate license, and I became Rookie of the Year, the $1 Million Club, and then I met Kathy. We teamed up, and through the skills I learned, we got to give props right now. I'm sorry, got to do it. Ms. Sharon Dover, my broker. Oh, I told her if I ever get a Grammy, I'm going to have to thank Sharon Dover. She taught me how to conduct business, how to make a plan. I learned how to cold call. And I thought I was going to throw up every time I was going to cold call.
I understand.
And excuse me out there, this is before the internet. I had to go to the library, to the crisscross directory. So you start honing your spiel. So every time you do a for sale by owner, hi, this is Jayne Olderman from Northside Realty. Click. Hi, it kept happening. Then I thought, all right, I'm going to find out the first name. Hey, Liz? Yeah, this is Jayne Olderman from Northside Realty. Click. Then I go, hey, Liz, yeah? How's it going with the sale, with the house? And then they start, fine. It's just fine. And then I get them talking. Then I get an appointment. Then I got the listings. Then I learned how to be thick-skinned for cold calling. I learned how to package, how to present, how to do contracts. And then I remember with Sharon, she was so excited that, oh, good, she's getting out of the music business. So I took all the skills from real estate and I went back into the music business and applied the cold calling, the skills, the just feeling in the gut what to do. And that's how I placed Let Me Be There For You, my song with Patti LaBelle, because of the skills. I got master's use sync licensing because of the real estate skills. Everything I've gotten in the music business since I got my real estate license is from real estate.
It's a good learning experience. I learned equal.
Oh, my gosh.
I've used it in a lot of things. It got me outside my fear box.
Yes.
And challenged me.
Yes.
And I'm good about that. Anything that'll challenge me, I'm all about it.
Yes.
It may take me a while, but
you kicked butt. What you're doing with your business with Cachet.
Thank you, dear.
Oh, my God. And then Kathy and I were partners, and we did this one closing.
That was my first sale.
And it was, where are they from? Argentina and
Cuba.
And they loved us so much. We did a really good job, and we're fun. So they said to us, "You've got to come over for the celebration at 6:00." And you and I are thinking, "Oh, I don't really want to go, but we should make an appearance." So we got there at 6:00. Told them we'd be leaving at 7, and I think it was 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Those people know how to party.
I sure did, and the food was outstanding.
The food was
had
incredible.
So much fun.
And the music. I love that musica. Oh, which I'm segueing. And now I'm free flow. Here we go. I can't shut up. I'm talking and I can't shut up.
All right. I know where this is going.
This is going to Atlanta Latino. So Chick, our wonderful friend, Chick Cusick, is a fellow co-writer and guitarist. Oh, extraordinaire. So it was in 2007, I believe. He said, Jayne, a guy I know, he's Latino, and his nephew came from El Salvador, and he was in Mexico, and he crossed the border to Douglas, Arizona, and he went with 52 people. I wrote the song about it. 52 people, and most of them perished in the desert. Coyotes killed them. The climate killed them. Three nights in the desert. He made it through, and he was sitting there as we interviewed him, this handsome 18-year-old, and he had the most vacant look in his eyes. We met at Starbucks, and he just was leaning over on the chair and just blankly staring. But Chick and I were so moved by the story that we wrote the song, Crossing the Border, Cruzando la Frontera. And I wound up on the cover of Atlanta Latino magazine. Go figure. I did. And we went to find Manuel to share the good news, and disappeared. Nobody was in the house. Because this is way before immigration became such a hot button issue. And he had to hide. Okay. So that's an interesting little story, and how I met Alberto Soler, who's a big shot in Las Vegas now. Alberto. You met Alberto. Yeah. He's huge now in Vegas. Okay. He's called El Charro de Las Vegas.
Okay.
The cowboy of Las Vegas.
The cowboy of Las Vegas. Next time I go out there, I'll stop by and see Alberto.
He would love it.
He sure would. We had fun. Talk about, I know you think I'm obsessed about this, but what's the name of the song that Patti recorded of yours that she did such a beautiful job, along with Chris Willis?
Chris Willis.
My two favorites.
And Joe Bell Starr's version is, I love it. So it's Let Me Be There For You, which I co-wrote with Dwayna Litz, and I met her in Nashville. We were teamed up. So, that's, I wish we could play the...
Yeah, unfortunately.
The, what is it?
But tell them then, let me be there for you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so people want to go Google it or whatever.
Google.
You can listen to Patti LaBelle singing Jayne's fabulous song, and I assure you, it is a beautiful song.
Thank you,
It's
thank
one
you.
of my favorites. She's my friend, but it's such a
Let
pretty
me be
song.
there. I can't sing.
And talk
Forget it.
about Chris doing it.
Oh,
for
Chris
those
Willis.
people who may
Hey,
not
yes,
know who he is.
You do know who he is. You just think you don't, but you do know. He has a whole bunch of hits with David Guetta and Fergie. What is it? Come on, help me. I'm having the senior moment.
It's a really good song.
Love won't let me wait.
We used to play it at the cafe in the mornings to get us pumped up. It's so
EDM,
awesome.
electronic dance music.
David Guetta,
Chris
Willis, and
Willis,
Fergie, and it's a killer song.
and LMFAO.
Full of energy. Yeah, and LMFAO, yeah,
Right.
that's right.
So he sang a few of my songs on my album, The Journey, from 2003.
He did. First person I heard that sang that was Chris.
Yes.
Live years
Yes.
ago, and blew me away.
Yes.
The song number one, like I said, is beautiful, but Chris's rendition, it
It's
just killed me.
exquisite.
So good.
Well, it also blew away Patti LaBelle and her husband because
she
they
heard
told
Chris's
me
version?
that was his demo.
Oh,
That's the demo.
he did the demo.
I released it.
Okay, cool.
And that's a perfect segue if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
I have a series of 6 albums called The Demos Have Magic. Why did I name it that? Because the demos have magic. Sometimes you get a demo and it's magical, and then you go in the big studio and you're producing it, and in your head you're like, wow, what a production, and all the magic's gone. So I'm like, forget it. So I released 6 albums of the demos, but I cherry picked. They're all really superb. And here's the odd thing. I just recently signed a 3-year exclusive deal with a licensing company. I love them. And
What will you be doing for them?
They're doing for me.
Okay.
I love them. Cozy, Koze. And they are in New Zealand, Nashville, and LA. And they're working my catalog. And to round back to my point about the demos have magic, the part of my catalog that is catching fire are the old things from the 80s recorded on a Porta studio. For any of you out there, it's like training wheels on a bicycle. It's a studio that's a cassette with only 4 tracks, and you have to think ahead as you're bouncing tracks. Those captured the magic, and I pulled them off of cassettes, and I released them, and they're my most popular songs worldwide.
Isn't that funny?
I
can
don't
remember.
get it.
I can remember recording back in the day on 8-track,
Yes.
reel to reel.
Yes.
And
Well,
nobody
you
even
came
knows
over.
what that is.
You
anymore.
recorded Meant to Fly with me on that.
Yes, I did.
That was the 8-track reel to reel.
Oh, was that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually was Jayne's
Backup
singer. I call myself the na-na-na girl because that's what I got to do in the background. You wouldn't know I was on it unless you
Yeah, you do.
hear the na-na-nas at the end
You
there.
do. At the end, you're so distinctive. I love your voice. I love
you.
it. But yeah, the demos have magic. I hope if you visit my website, it's very cartoony and colorful. Thank
Not
you.
that you're
Thank
cartoony,
you.
but you are colorful.
No, I think I feel like a cartoon. I got the pinata explosion in my brain right
now I
now.
won't be able to get that out of my head. Whenever I see
Neither
you,
will
I'm
I.
gonna think of pinatas
I've
exploding
never
in
been able to
confetti.
get it out of my head.
Okay.
The pinata.
All right.
It's very colorful, though. A lot
Okay.
of confetti coming out.
I know that you're involved in several community charity type things. If you would talk about that a
I
little
would
bit.
love to talk about
Because
that.
let me reiterate this. The show is about people out there obviously chasing excellence, and part of that is professional, personal, and community. You're out there making your community better. So
Yes.
I want to hear about what
Well,
you're doing in that respect.
I like people. They're okay.
They're okay.
But I like animals.
You don't sound like you like them too well.
I like animals so much more. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm kidding. But I anyway, I work with, volunteer at Last Stop Horse Rescue in Gainesville. And Joyce Pomeroy is the queen bee. She's the Beyonce
Okay.
of horses. up
Tell us
there.
what they do.
She will only take in, it's almost comical, but it could be so sad. Emaciated, old, blind, abused, nearing the end horses. And I've seen miracles there. And what a bunch of volunteers. The way it started, where it escalated for me, is a few years ago, there weren't that many volunteers because she hadn't had the word out yet. So one day I was up there and they brought in a Pinto horse
Pinto pony, yeah.
that they found dying in a field. It was this close to dying, Shadow. And the same day, Chester came in. This is
Chester, your doggy.
my
Gosh,
horse.
it's a horse.
And I fell in love. I don't know what happened, but that thing. Oh, I know a lot of you out there know that feeling when you meet the animal and you don't know what it is. You feel it in your chest. You just know. I fell in love with Chester. And so I started going up there 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, making food, taking care of everything, the water, scrubbing the troughs, da-da-da. Next thing you know, I got to take care of Shadow. And then I started taking care of all the cats in the barn. And then next thing you know, the cows. And then there were more horses. So I got into like an addiction where I guess
Just wanted to help.
well, it's an addiction like I guess runners have it, or I started doing it 2 times a day, 2 hours morning, 2 hours afternoon, and I kept it up for 9 months. And Joyce said, "You better watch it, you're going to crash." And I did. But I watched Chester thrive. When he passed a few years ago, he was 46.
Wow.
43 or 46. Hey, after 40, what does it matter? It's
I
like
know,
a
seriously.
120-year-old person. And then Shadow benefited from my love of Chester. He got fat. We had to start calling him Fatso. He was the one that was dying. We had to get pulleys. The fire department would come to get him on his feet. He's up in the pasture right now grazing, happy as could be.
Good for him.
And my Chester had the best life until... You know,
didn't.
well, it's like like my mom. My mom in Chester. She was 99, and when your body's done, it's done. Now we're going to segue
Speaking about
off
a
of,
segue, I don't know if you planned that or not, but on a previous
free flow here. I don't know what I'm doing.
on a previous podcast, I mentioned that fabulous lady as an inspiration. They asked me if who was an inspiration to me, and she was one of them.
Oh, Kathy!
And she was something
Thank
else.
you.
I always said she was tiny, but she was mighty.
Thank you.
She was such a fighter and such a sharp wit, and we just loved her.
She
to death,
loved
didn't we?
you. She wanted to go to Greece with you.
That's right.
Remember?
We were going to travel together, and I would have done it because
I knew
she's
you
so
would.
much fun.
She is so much fun. We'll round back to Last Stop Horse Rescue. But my mom passed away at 99. And for the listeners, I love to inspire people, as do you. I got to tell you all about my mom. She was healthy and lucid, and she made it to 99 years. And I think the pandemic did her in, the isolation. And then she started watching news round the clock. And I don't have to talk in politics or religion because it's not my purpose. But I think it got to her because it was sad and angry and mean. And I think
broke
that
her down.
she could have made it, she could have made it to 101 easily.
I could see that.
Or further. That did her in. And then it was 2 years ago. Yeah, and then it went relatively quick. It took 3 months. The decline started like that till June. But, you know.
We always said she should have written a book.
Yes.
Edie's Wisdom. Because people could learn so much from your mom.
My sister-in-law says the same thing. She was writing quotes down for my mother. But I think the thing I want to impart to everybody is so important. I put it in her eulogy. She was like chief, one of the Native American chiefs that said, when it is your time to leave this earth, you don't go crying and screaming and whining when you're ready to cross the great divide. You prepare your death song and you cross the divide with dignity. And it's exactly what my mom did. Because her helper, we FaceTimed and all, and my mom's like, I got to do what I got to do. Those were her last words.
Really?
And she kicked everybody out, and then she passed. And I was driving through the Shenandoah Valley to get to her, and I got the call, and she was begging me. She said, help me leave. I'm done. I'm done. Can you imagine having to welcome death fearlessly and courageously?
Even more so, can you imagine heaven when Edie arrived?
No.
She was up there inspiring everybody, wasn't she? She was phenomenal.
Wow,
So
yes.
I'm glad we got to talk about her a little bit.
And then I have a song. Dante and I wrote a song called I Bless the Poverty. I'm second generation American, and my mom, first generation, of course, that makes sense, do the math. And she came up in horrific poverty, and Dante and I wrote her life story in the song, that on her own. She graduates cum laude from Julia Richmond High School. She gets a scholarship to Hunter. She turns it down. She goes to work for the head of the Navy. She was like a bad. She was, whatever.
Yeah, she was.
And we don't need to be swearing. I heard on podcasts you're allowed to swear, but it's not in my wheelhouse.
Okay.
So, but at any rate, yeah. So she was pre-women's lib. She was. She could have been. She could have been a contender.
She was
a
contender. There was nobody like her.
Yeah.
But she was truly an inspiration, and anybody would have benefited from knowing her. Just her energy was so strong.
I'm going through her stuff, personal. And I find letters from people about how you lifted me up, you made my day. Yeah, these are people in businesses.
Well, see, that's what I'm trying to focus on here is people that are like that. Because on our intro podcast, I don't know if Amanda remembers it or not, but I was saying how during the COVID shutdown and everything, everybody was so depressed and it was so gloomy and doomy. And I said, there's got to be things out there, people doing good things. It can't all be gloom and doom. Yes. So that's how this came about, that beautiful. I want to feature people who are out doing good in the world. And your mom was definitely one of those.
For sure. So. And rounding back to Last Stop Horse Rescue, I can't believe I'm actually having short-term memory. This never happens. If anyone wants to donate, or to help the horses.
Or volunteer.
Volunteer would be really good. She's got a team now that is awesome. So I can back off and just, go there when I can and financially
get
help
your
out.
Horse fix like I did when I was growing up.
Yeah, get the horse fix, exactly. It's Last Stop Horse Rescue.
It's in Gainesville.
.com. Gainesville.
Okay.
Yeah. So just throwing it out there. And she's got the stuff from the Department of Agriculture and the Coggins reports and the vet. So
okay,
I promised her I'd do the check.
Yeah, I can tell. Hope she appreciates that.
Joyce,
free advertising.
Joyce, we did it. We did it.
Okay.
So I've been on one other podcast like 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I was getting ready for this podcast. Mm-hmm. So I've been listening to Rob Lowe. He's got a great podcast called Literally.
Jayne,
yes,
we've been friends for 30 plus years, as I reminded you this morning, and it's hard to believe.
Every moment.
And
Kathy,
in those 30 years, we have had some experiences. If you want to talk about it, you can bust us out.
Well, we mentioned the party at our real estate people.
Yeah.
And then, what are you going to talk about? The Kevin Bacon incident?
Kevin Bacon incident. Not really an incident.
It's not an incident.
Memorable.
It was memorable. It was like
for you and me.
I don't get overwhelmed by celebrity except Patti LaBelle.
Okay.
When I met her, but with Kevin, I gotta quit doing that. With Kevin, Paul Gazzone, the bass player, producer, he was in my band for many years, so he let Kathy and I come backstage, and we met Kevin.
Well. First of all, they were touring. Kevin and his brother have a band called the Bacon Brothers. And they were performing at the Sugar Hill Amphitheater. Jayne's friend Paul invited us, and then we were backstage. Okay, you take it.
No, you were so succinct. Why don't you take it?
Oh, well, you're funnier than me.
I was such a dork. Okay, here's what I said. Then you got to tell your perspective.
All right.
He introduces me to Kevin, and here's what I say to Kevin. Can you imagine this? Thank you for rescuing.
He's looking at her like, huh? Rescuing what?
I had that out of body. Well, Paul had told me earlier he rescues dogs. So I was stuck. I guess I was in limbo on that conversation and pause. And it just took up there. I sound like that gal in the Netflix series with him.
Well, I don't know about that, but and my incident with him was, I'm so bad. I've known so many celebrities in my life because of my work and everything, and I don't get enamored. And so I would rather be the outsider looking in, and I kind of go out of my way to not think that, have them think I'm fanning on them. I don't want to be the fangirl because they get all that. So I'm like, no, I'm too good for that.
I'm too good.
So we were backstage, and I don't know who it was. Maybe it was Paul. He had introduced you, and then he introduced me, and I said, hello, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I waited until he moved over on the other side of the room, and I was trying to take pictures with my phone because I didn't want him to get a big ego from saying, can I have a picture with you? Because I just didn't want him to get an ego. That's just the way I am. And so here I am on the other side of the room with my phone on my hip, trying to take a picture of Kevin Bacon sitting in a chair, and it didn't go well. But I ended up with the picture, and when I looked at it later, he was giving me the stink eye from across the room.
He knew what was going on. He
Yeah,
knew.
he's like, who is this crazy girl? But then after that, Paul took us on a tour of their tour bus. And that was fun. Well, Jayne, this has been fabulous, and I'm so glad you got to come in today.
Thank
so
you.
is there anything else you want to tell everybody before you leave us?
Check out Cherokee Tears. I love it. It's Joe Bell Star on my website. It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful story. I don't know. I'm digging now. I'm looking.
Well, don't
I'm
dig
looking.
too deep.
Don't dig.
So we're
okay,
done.
I guess I'm done. It's a wrap.
All right.
I'm done. I could go on and on.
All right.
Stop me.
Well, that was fun. With that being said, I
Thank you,
think we
my
need
dear
to-
friend.
Same to you. Well, thank everyone for listening today, and I'm your host, Cathy Hogan, and thank you to my guest, Jayne Olderman, and this is Chasing Excellence. Have a great week, and be fearless, friends.